must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to being with us at this morning, a few minutes past 11 a.m. Thank you so much. The show is People's Court, and on the show this morning, I'm joined by Professor Jared Onyari from Nairobi. Professor, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam, my fellow panelists, our viewers from wherever they are all over the world.
All right, good morning too. And we're also joined by Douglas Kirimi from Meru County. Douglas, good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam, and also to Professor Jared Onyari, to Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, and also to our viewers across the world. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, nice to have you too. And we are also joined by Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, who missed our morning show. We had such an exciting conversation, Doc. Good morning to you. All right, so as Dr. Joseph Nyanchama works on that technological aspect there to join us, the topic...
Oh, Miriam, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. Good morning.
Thank you, Miriam, and my fellow panelists, Professor Nyari, Douglas Kirimi, and others. I'm happy to join this forum today, and other viewers as we deliberate on critical issues put forth. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, and nice to have you here too, Doc. So yesterday we did have a very good conversation on corruption and how far, the government of President Kenyatta has gone, and the efforts and the commitment when it comes to the fight against corruption in the country. So today we shall continue with that conversation and look at how perhaps the international partners have helped Kenya in the fight against corruption. Are they doing enough? Are we doing enough to attract even people to come in the country and help us in the war against corruption, or we are our own problem down here? But before we get into that, there's also corruption piece that I see was covered on the Daily Nation this morning today. So I'd like for us to start up with this story on page 5 of the Daily Nation today before we get to the main headline, the main topic there. The country will today know whether the proposed constitutional amendments, that is for the court. No, that is for the BBI. We shall do that later because today the court is deciding on the BBI. But this story here, DPP wants Waluke appeal dismissed. So the public on the Star newspaper, page 9. The public prosecutor has said the sentences meted out against Sirisia, Member of Parliament John Waluke and Grace Wakungu in a multi-million shillings corruption case were lenient. Director of Public Prosecutions Nurdin Haji wants the court to dismiss the appeal. The two were imprisoned on June 22nd last year by the Anti-Corruption Court after being found guilty of fraud and illegal acquisition of 297 million Kenya shillings through shady deals at the Nairobi Cereals and Produce Board. Upon conviction, the trial court imposed a combined fine of 2 billion Kenya shillings in a default, and Wakungu was handed a 39-year sentence, while the MP was slapped with a 34-year sentence. The DPP, in his submissions, has said the sentences were lawful. The appellates were found guilty of fraudulently acquiring a colossal amount of 313 million Kenya shillings of public money. As such, a quantifiable amount of money was lost to them. The appellates were therefore deserve both retributive and deterrent sentences, according to the DPP. The trial magistrate Elizabeth Juma took into consideration Waluke and Wakungu's mitigation and the fact that they were first offenders before sentencing them, as well as the amount of money involved. Haji also says there is no evidence on record that the criminal proceedings against the two were provoked and commenced to advance other gains other than promotion of fair administration of justice. And as I think the last time I checked, Waluke was out on bond or something like that, but the DPP once Waluke appeal dismissed. Waluke had gone to court to appeal. So this case, the sentencing has not been done. That was done, I think. It was, but he's out on bond right now. So that is where we start our conversation this morning in the fight against corruption. I don't know, when you see high cases like this and how they're being handled in the courts, does it give confidence in our ability to actually successfully conclude and prosecute a corruption case in the country before we even think about bringing in international players? I'll start with you, Professor Jared Onyari.
Miriam, thank you so much. You have asked me a very good question, and the same question yesterday I posed to the chairman for Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Bishop Wabkara, and the rest of people who are carrying education on anti-corruption, Miriam. And I was asking Miriam, where is the problem in fighting corruption in this country? Is it, Miriam, that I'm the only one who sees and others don't see? That's the question I'm asking, because me, wherever I walk around, I see a lot of corruption. I see a lot of grabbing of public spaces. I see on the glaring of the camera, the policemen receiving bribes, Miriam. Miriam, you go to the government office, you cannot get a tender, and I can hear Kenyans complaining, Miriam. Where are the intelligence people, persons in this country? Where are these even these anti-corruption people when they just have a walk? Do they become blind and the rest of us we see, Miriam? Like this case, Miriam, of Waluke, Miriam, a straightforward case. He has already been sentenced, Miriam. We have taken almost another year, Miriam, without the case being heard, Miriam. And this is what Wabkara said, that we should not be able to blame, point fingers at what's not happening, Miriam. We must be, Miriam, to know who is responsible. You heard our president, Miriam, saying that we lose 2 billion Kenyan shillings every other day, and the Kenyan just imagine they stomach that nonsense. The money is spilling off from the public coffers, 2 billion, and you have got no reason to doubt, because the most informed person in this country is the president, because he has got the intelligence at his fingertips, Miriam. Miriam, he asked sometimes back, Miriam, we do a lifestyle audit. What happened, Miriam? Mm-hmm. We saw the procurement, the auditors, and the accountants, Miriam, they were sent home, Miriam, to be vetted. As if it is not even enough, Miriam. He has said that all the procurement to be put, Miriam, on the website portal so that Kenyans will be able to see who got what and what this. Miriam, is that one happening? Are we really interested in fighting corruption? Wabkara will not answer me. I come from the same county with Joseph, where a gate was constructed with 7.5 million Kenyan shillings, Miriam. We have complained about that one, and no action has been taken, Miriam. I narrowed in and I zeroed in, Miriam. The problem is anti-corruption commission. That's perhaps that's the starting point, Miriam, because having these too much layers, Miriam. One, they don't investigate properly, and even this Waluke case, you will see, he will escape and he will go home. He will escape and go home, because even the magistrate have gone through the ruling, Miriam. He created some loopholes. The trial court heard on this, and the moment, Miriam, will just be found out, someone will be sent home. So Kenyans should get annoyed. Kenyans should get concerned, Miriam, and we take back our power. Miriam, I remember in 2003, all of you were there. I could see Kenyans arresting policemen. I will see Kenyans coming to the office and they demand for services, Miriam, and you disappear. What happened? May we go back and claim those ones, because courts will never fight corruption. The DCI will not fight corruption, because they have They have handled short investigation, Miriam. I need not to talk about anti-corruption. And the moment you have got an agent called anti-corruption, Miriam, is when you are telling people to be corrupt. I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Waluke and Wakungu had gone to court to appeal their sentence, the sentencing, and the DP now is asking the court to dismiss the appeal, saying the two have failed to demonstrate sufficient grounds to warrant the setting aside of the conviction and sentences. Douglas Kirimi.
They are resident in this country. Their right to go to court is enshrined in the Constitution. They have a right to go to court. They have a right to do what they want to do. But Miriam, these are corrupt people. These are blood thieves who should be able to go to prison. And there is no difference, Miriam, between John Waruke, the MP for Sirisia, Mrs. Wakungu, and others who have been stealing from the people of Kenya. You saw the effects of corruption yesterday, Miriam. It was in national newspapers and it was in national television, where in Kimwarel, the dams that were supposed to be able to shield the people from the floods, where money was stolen, eaten, everything, 64 billion. And after money was eaten in Kimwarel, Miriam, people lost land, people lost homes yesterday, and goats and the sheep were carried away by the floods, Miriam. These were calamities that would have been averted if we did not permit corruption to be able to take center stage in our lives, Miriam. These people who are going to appeal these corruption cases, we need to strengthen judiciary. We need to make sure that when a thief is convicted, even if he is Professor Jared Onyari, even if he has stolen half of this country, he should be taken, action should be taken, property taken back, and also these people serve as a reason in court, Miriam. We can be able to amend our laws, our corruption laws in this country, Miriam. What we have done at the BBI proposals and reforms is not even enough, Miriam. Conclusion of cases in 2 years is not enough. That is trying to be politically correct. A person like John Waruke, who stole money that was meant for farmers, and that money was routed into his bank account, and some other mysterious person that they don't want to mention, who was the agriculture minister that time when that money was spent, Dr. William Ruto. They don't want to mention him. I'll mention him because even in Kimwarel, they don't want to mention him. They have lost goats now. They have lost sheep and cattle, Miriam, because corruption has been allowed to be able to go on in this country. We have people that don't care about the soul and the welfare of the people of Kenya. When corruption is given an opportunity in this country, even if it is Douglas who has stolen, let action be taken. By this time round, we should be having John Waruke and the lady that they were accused in prison, Miriam. They should be appealing from prison, but they were given bail because they are big fish in this nation. Miriam, today if I stole a chicken, I've given this example many times ago, many months ago. If I took a chicken from my farm, my neighbors and also residents of Meru, where I come from, I would be in a prison called Tonto or Kemito in Meru. I will not even be in prison in Kamiti, where they have banks and TV. I will be in Meru in a very bad prison, or in Tharaka Nithi, in some prison in some remote places, digging shamba every morning and evening. But we have Judy, the mother to Judy, to Ambassador Judy Wakungu, Miss Wakungu, who continues roaming the corridors of power and continues getting more tenders to continue stealing. These thieves who are going to appeal these cases, the appeal should be able to be repelled completely. As soon as they appeal it, they should be repelled, because Miriam, corruption has been able to breed this nation. As we celebrate mega thieves in this nation, the people of Kimwarel have no goats, have no sheep, because the friends have swept there. They have swept everything, Miriam. The villages and the villagers are crying. There are no houses. People are living in trees, Miriam, because corruption has been given an opportunity to go on and also go on and go on. Mm-hmm. The former Minister for Agriculture, Mwangi Kiunjuri, continued stealing even after many years when this Waruke case was done. They continued stealing. It is only now that we are getting stability in these cases. My first assignment for the next Chief Justice is to make sure that she has fought for Judiciary and Corruption Court section to be strengthened, so that we can jail these thieves, Miriam. We can take their properties, we can sell their houses in Karen, we can sell their hotels in Mombasa, and even in their rural homes, we sell these homes, Miriam, because the other day I saw in the newspapers, I think it was yesterday, that Kindero bought the luxury apartments, the gem apartments bought and or built using corrupted proceeds from City Hall. The residents of Nairobi City County could not access medical care. Women, children, and poor people could not access water in slums and medical care because Kidero stole money to build luxury apartments for himself. A man that has no known industry, a man that has not invented anything, a man that does not even manufacture fertilizer or anything in this country, Miriam. Corruption has been given space to thrive in our judiciary, in our courts. And I praise this thing right beside, right on the table of judiciary that is going to be read by Martha Koome. These are corrupt people who continue being aided by a judiciary that does not care about the people of Kenya. John Waruke should be in prison today, but he has a bill. He has been sentenced and convicted of corruption. Corruption has been romanticized in this country, politicized, and given every fancy name, Miriam, such that I can steal 200 million and continue living Raj in current disregarding processes of hard work, fidelity to the law, and also, Miriam, at the end of the day, the sweat of the people of Kenya who pay taxes, the people of Kenya who give money to the National Serious Board, the sweat of the Kenyan people who continue farming coffee and you steal money meant for their payments, and all that, Miriam. So my point is, the DPP is right to be able to do that. We need to be able to repel these appeals from our courts because these are corrupt people who have dragged our country back. The same John Waruke, Miriam, is the same man shouting bottom-up approach. We are going to improve the economy. We are going to make sure the economy that you have brotherhood with your bosses at UDA, Miriam, this pretense should come to an end in this country. Okay. We should be able to cut the tree, cut its branches, and cut every shoot that will come from that tree of corruption. Starting with this case of John Waruke, it is the first mega corruption case to get a conviction in this country. And as I conclude my point, we should repel every attempt from these people to be able to get bills and also to be able to appeal this sentencing, Miriam. Why would you steal over 700 million and you want an appeal to be able to repel, to send away your evidence and tell the people of Kenya to forget? Miriam, this issue of telling us to forgive and forget and forgive corrupt people, we have no business in that. We can as well forgive petty offenders, open our prisons and make sure that these prisoners go home and we can convert our prisons into something else, Miriam. I submit.
Thank you so much, Douglas Kirimi. Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, please help me understand, forget I'm a journalist, but assuming somebody from the village there, maybe my mother, would like to understand this morning. This is a member of parliament who was convicted of corruption, went to jail, and I think served for 3 months, and then he's out now on bail. When we look at Chapter 6 of our Kenyan Constitution, I know that the topic there we're supposed to be looking at is have international partners helped Kenya to fight corruption. But first of all, I'd like for us to establish, are we doing enough ourselves before we can even ask for help from outside? Why is this person still a member of parliament? Perhaps that is where I need to understand this morning, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. And we have Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution of Leadership and Integrity.
Thank you, Miriam. You know, let me be honest from my own end. I am one of the persons who has never come into terms that you can be jailed, get a bail, and go back to parliament and start legislating. You see, you know,
yes.
My fellow panelists, let's get the common sense. Just for a bit, let's put the shenanigans who are saying that unless you exhaust the appeal, you know what the argument is? Mm-hmm. Until you exhaust the appeal, this is a statement I even heard from Orengo himself, that until you exhaust, you are innocent. For me, Miriam, what disturbs me, first of all, well, it is his constitutional right to be heard in the next level of court, which he went to court and it was granted. For my take, this man had to stay home, first of all, quietly. The mistake, whatever this constitution, I don't know how they missed that change. He comes to parliament, a convicted person from prison, in parliament. You know, this is the only country in the world where a convicted person sits in one of the most privileged houses, the August House. One that never sees. They could even invoke chapter 6, that your hands are not clean yet. Why can't you stay aside, then exhaust your appeal? If you are found innocent, then you come back. In fact, there is a loophole even in this constitution when it comes to fighting corruption. He is not a mere suspect. He was convicted. He shouldn't have even gone back to parliament. That is the first mistake. And you know, I want to imagine that the DPP has enough evidence to resend him back. Because you know, in court, Miriam and my fellow panelists, there is nothing about truth in court. It is about facts. Have you ever had a judge saying, making a ruling like this? I have listened to the truths presented before this court, and I have corroborated all the truths, and I set you free. You hear him or her say, I have listened to the facts presented to the court, meaning that you may win the case when you are still a thief, because in court what is proven is not the truth, it is the fact. You know, there's a difference between a fact and a truth. But in Kenya, they only focus on facts, not the truth. So you may find if the facts again have been added, as Professor said, Miriam, don't be shocked to find that Waluk has been said to be as white as the cotton of Egypt. And you will see him walking in the street. Miriam showed me what I'm saying. I'm appealing to Parliament not to accept one of their own who has dirty hands, which have been proven to sit with them. The only thing they can spare, let the seat remain, not to be declared vacant until he exhausts all his appealing procedures. But he should not go back to Parliament. Under chapter 6, he has a soiled hand. Miriam, I hear they have heard me. I am equally surprised as you are. Madam, I submit.
But the fact that he's already been convicted, I thought that is what our constitution says, Samuel Tawish. Am I missing something?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miriam, and my colleague panelist, for the input you have actually made there. Miriam, on the question of corruption in the country and how best Kenya can actually fight and eradicate corruption, I think we're still lagging behind in terms of the interdependence of the institutions we have. And more so, I think there's also a very big lacuna in the Kenyan constitution that allows actually situations like what we have today. I've had you and other panelists actually ask yourselves questions as to why someone like Waluke John can be given such a bail. How can he be out when he's been actually alleged or convicted to have stolen such huge sums of money? It speaks about our constitution. And I think, like Professor Onyari did mention, maybe it is time some of us will suggest that once you've caught up in corruption scandal, let the case be you are guilty until proven innocent. Because as it is now, the Kenyan constitution says you are innocent until proven guilty. Yet, like Professor Dr. Nyanchama has put it, like what we have today is about to prove the facts, and it's not about the truth. Because someone may have stolen, yes, someone may have killed, yes, but the question is, do you have facts to that effect? Do you have facts to corroborate your argument before a court of law? So that is why you see most people, especially those who have big money today, they can easily manipulate their way out. They can walk scot-free. Why? Because they will get the best lawyers in the country, and the best lawyers also have a cartel of their own. They have networks of their own. They will actually these networks goes all the way to the judiciary itself, the judges themselves, the magistrates themselves, who in many cases give even bail terms that are so lenient that even the ordinary person at home may not understand necessarily how did this happen. Today, if you stole a chicken, Miriam, or if you did what I will consider as a minor offense, you will find yourself actually behind bars, especially if you are not oiled. If your pockets are not deep, you'll find yourself behind bars. But a person who is well managed, people who are highly connected and with a lot of money, they can easily get their way out simply because they use their money to buy their freedom. They can easily corrupt their way out. And it's something that has been happening. You can see everywhere. You saw what happened last time. If I can give an example of what happened in Gilgil Weighbridge, where we heard about, was it two lawmakers? There was one nominated MP and another MP, I think, from Nandi County, who are actually arrested having harassed the Weighbridge officers at Gilgil. But you saw these guys actually came out because, in fact, they were even threatening to call President Uhuru Kenyatta in such a very minor issue, something that should not even call for the attention of the head of state. What does it speak about? That we have people who are misusing their power. We have tyrants, people who are not actually taking the privilege of the positions they hold in society to help, but obviously to manipulate and get their way out of this accountability, Miriam. So moving forward, I think we need to address our constitution. Let's begin from there. And that's people even just abusing the head of state, abusing the first family openly and outrightly, and they do not fear anything simply because there's democracy. So I think it is the same thing we have in corruption, that we do not have very serious and deterrent measures that can make someone actually fear and loath to actually steal public money because they can always bail their way out. They can always use their money to get themselves out. So in as much as we'll be petitioning the judiciary, we'll be petitioning other institutions, we should also be looking into our constitution and how watertight is it? What are the lacunas that have allowed? For example, you cannot just accuse the judge for giving these lenient bail terms, because if they are offered anyway in the constitution, what reasons will a judge, for example, or a magistrate, advance in denying these individuals these bail terms? So I think we should begin from the constitution so that it is like the judge is actually tied. They cannot do anything. They have just but to follow what the law says. But as it is now, I think it is our law which has allowed all these loopholes to happen, and that is what these corrupt individuals are really exploiting for their own good, Miriam, I submit.
All right, thank you so much. And we also joined this morning by Jeevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Jeevan, a very good morning to you. Okay, because I needed him to answer that before we move forward with this conversation. Jeevan, good morning. Very well, as he's working on his gadget there, Prof. I don't know if there's anything you need to add to that conversation before we move on to the international partners helping Kenya in the fight against corruption. This member of parliament was convicted, served for 3 months, and is now out on bail. But it is not a matter of is he guilty or not. He was found to be guilty. So why is still a member of parliament in parliament there making laws, and yet he's a lawbreaker? Professor. Very well. Prof also.
Yes, Miriam, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying, Miriam, that's where perhaps Dr. Joseph was trying to say that, Miriam, you should be guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Mm-hmm. That is what happened in other jurisdictions. But in Kenya, Miriam, you are presumed to be innocent until you are proved guilty. And the will of justice in this country, Miriam, he had to make an appeal. He said the lower court did not try me properly. I want to make my appeal, and you hear me, Miriam. Mm-hmm. Then we made a terrible blunder, Miriam. Under 20 Constitution, we call it progressive or not progressive. And that's why we are saying, Miriam, under BBI, I don't know whether it's been properly been captured, Miriam. Issues to do with economic crimes, Miriam. You shouldn't even be given bail. So perhaps people, you discourage people so that they don't engage, Miriam. So he went to the Court of Appeal, he put his notice, he filed the papers, he was given bond, and is working with us here. In fact, he's even looking for money, that 2 billion, which he can even find some other contracts, Miriam. He may be equipped, Miriam, to pay that money now. Mm-hmm. Because now he has prepared himself. So Miriam, what I want from my end is the kind of law we have, and through BBI, Miriam, we are going to have these matters rest, because we have said within 2 years these cases should be dispensed out. And like now, it was after 3 months he was in. He put the notice of appeal. He filed his papers. He's working with us, and I saw him with no